I was able to run a couple more people through a Dying Earth module. This is the level 1 module, the Laughing Idol of Lar-Shan. And we're going to talk about it and see if it's any good and maybe if you should run it. Hello everybody, Jordan here, the PH is silent, and I backed the Dying Earth DCC Kickstarter extravaganza, whatever you want to call it, and with it came a whole bunch of these modules, and it's kind of been something that I want to do, is I want to get through all of these Dying Earth modules that I got through the Kickstarter. So if you're new to the channel, I've already done one, which I will link in the top right corner. And down below. And then that was a level 0 funnel, and this is a level 1 adventure for 4 to 5 characters written by Julian Bernick, and it's set in the world of the Dying Earth, and I had a lot of fun. We're going to talk more about my running it and go flip through the PDF. So let's jump over there. Hello, everybody. I just feel that the PDF is a little easier to flip through, despite the actual physical copy being right here. And it's fun to go through the physical copies, but I've never been able to get the lighting set up just right. So we're going to talk about the Laughing Idol of Lar-Shan. This is, like I said, a level 1 adventure, 4 to 5 players. And this is interesting because there was a big snow apocalypse that happened. I was scheduled to run this with I think 5 people, but 3 of them couldn't make it. So I ended up having 2 players, and I almost canceled, but at the very last moment they were like, well, I mean, can we just play like 2 characters each and then we'll be able to get through it? And I was like, yeah, like why not? And I'm really glad that they suggested that, and I'm glad that I ran it because I ended up having a lot of fun. And so even with 2 players playing 2 characters each, it was still a lot of fun and pretty dangerous. So this is the Laughing Idol. It's a big bronze demon statue that's making like a pseudo Vulcan live long and prosper sign. And then you can't see, but the other hand is pointing down like an arrow into the earth. And there is the backstory of this is there's a town called Pumriel, and adjacent to the town is a temple to this demon called Lar-Shan, but you don't really know more than that. Your players were sent here to get a bottle of very special brandy called Lar-Shan brandy, which is created at the temple of Lar-Shan. So here we have a cultist with a bottle of brandy, and they're working hard on it. So if you're going to play this, probably don't watch this video in general. This is kind of for people who are interested in running this module. But there are a lot of backstory aspects to it that didn't really come into the light while I was playing this. One of them being is that the demon Lar-Shan was trapped by a magician a long time ago into a single seed of a tree. And then that tree grew, and the berries of that tree is what they use to create the brandy. And so the brandy has magical effects because it is essentially like a demon tree brandy. Now, in order to keep making the brandy and to keep the demon stuck in the tree, there is an offering every 4 years that a youth must be sent up to the temple and sacrificed to this tree. And the people in the town are like, yeah, every 4 years we have to do this. This is kind of what it is. It's the Dying Earth setting, let's be honest. So they send this up. But where our players come in is they were sent to get a bottle of brandy, and they don't know anything else really other than that it's really fine brandy. And when they get there, it turns out that one of the NPCs has led like a coup, and they marched up to the temple and tried to overthrow all of the priestesses and cultists up there. And you walk in up to the town, and you see that there is in the center of the temple a very large idol. This statue right here. And the statue is screaming for its offering. It's like, where is the youth that I was promised? And it just keeps screaming and laughing maniacally. And the people down below are like, hey, we sent up a sacrifice, but we don't really know what happened to him. Also, this guy did a coup and everyone up there might be dead. And so in order to get the brandy, they want the adventurers to go into the temple and find out what happened and hopefully stop Lar-Shan from awakening and destroying their town. So that's it in a nutshell. There are some funny, interesting bits of this. One of them is there's like a priest that was, or a cultist. They call themselves priests, but there was a priest that was like kicked out, and you can go talk to them. And all of the priests of Lar-Shan and the followers, I guess, in the town as well, they don't have any hair, so they keep their faces clean and they shave their heads. And one of the priests that you find who is like kicked out during the Great Rebellion, he has decided to let half of his face grow and the other half not. So he's got like half facial hair, half hair on his head, and then the other half is clean shaven. Which if you've seen Last Man on Earth, that's exactly what I thought of. The mayor will pretty much instruct you guys to go check out the temple, and that's where you're going to go. So after kind of feeling out the situation and maybe getting promised some extra money, you'll head up to the temple. And as you do that, he'll change his tune and say, "The time is almost upon us. Only 2 turns of the hourglass are left. Act now, or anger me beyond redress. Send me the youth." So this is the statue becoming very, very impatient, the demon Lar-Shan. And 2 turns of the hourglass is really up to you however long you want it to be. But basically, there's a time limit before Lar-Shan is going to leave. And my players took it as like, oh, we've got like 2 hours. So that's kind of where we were. So coming up to the temple, here is the temple. There aren't any guards or anything, but there is like a secret tunnel down here that you can go to. And then there's a latrine shaft over here that you could kind of like sneak your way in. Otherwise, you can climb the wall or you can come to the front gate. Coming in through A1, you'll find that there is oh, it's actually on the map. That's cool. There is a body like right here in front of the gate. And so players are a little spooked as like, what's happening? What's going on? They don't see anybody else, but they do see this body. It turns out that body, as you get into the temple area, is just a drunk guy. And he'll try to kind of help run after, like try to find reinforcements, but he's just very, very drunk because they have been drinking a lot of brandy. Each of these houses, A8, 7, 6, 5, and A4, all have clues about what has happened here. A5 is a storage room, so you can get a lot of like my players were like, do we need torches? And so that was a good way for them to find supplies that they might be missing or needed. There is a small encounter in A4, and then the other 3 are all just exposition, kind of like discovering what this place is and hints as to where to go. Where they need to go is the temple, which is at the very center here. And as they go to the temple, they need to find this secret door and descend down below. Now, as they get down below, they wind up here. And there are a couple of funny things in here. So this is a subterranean, or it's just a basement, but it's under the earth. And each one of these has more clues as to what's happening and a few small encounters. So B1, I think you'll find, is a barracks, and there's like lots of bodies there. But you do find a couple of storage lockers for all of the different priests that were here. And within those storage lockers, you can find some interesting treasures. B2 is where they make a lot of the brandy. And you don't have any, there isn't any brandy available right there, but you could potentially use the process to make your own brandy, although aging it is going to take a while. B3 is the dining hall over here.
B3.
You sunk my battleship.
And this has a funny thing because there's that ant that was there earlier will appear and just want to give you, want to feed you. That's what the ant wants to do. So he'll bring out all of these courses. And if you refuse, he'll attack. And if you accept, he'll bring you meal after meal after meal. And if you continue eating, you're going to have to make fortitude saves to like keep the food down. The ant isn't directly tied to everybody here or this adventure. And it is something that you could use to spawn like your own adventures later on, which is something that I like about some of these modules, is they can be like, oh, I want to know where that ant came from, and you can kind of go off in a different direction. And then the major parts of this are B6, B4, and B5. So B4 is a library, and there's a demon there that's trapped. He's bound to a book and has to obey your orders. How he gets out of that is if you read the book out loud in its entirety. And then if you go to B6, that's where the tree is. The tree has all this fruit, grapes hanging off of it. You find a dead body, which was the previous sacrifice that was here, and the sacrifice is there to like pick grapes. And there's another demon here who really wants you to accept an offering from him so that he can escape. And the two demons have like a little rivalry with each other, which is kind of fun. They both can't leave their respective rooms, but they know of each other and they are competitive. And then finally, B5 has a trap door below that will take you lower. And this is where the head priest was living. So there's a journal here that has a lot more information and things like that. And kind of depending on where your players go first, there can be some interesting dynamics. Like if they go clockwise, they'll discover a lot of things. But if they go counterclockwise, they'll discover things first that help them if they go clockwise. It's set up really fun. And I think this is the book demon right here that you run into. Pretty fun. Going down the trap door, we kind of come to the conclusion of the adventure, and there are priests down here that are not undead, but they are just like they're like unlife, if you will, because they're not technically dead, but the brandy is keeping them alive, and it's just really, really terrible existence that they have. So these like brandy vampire looking wraiths will attack you as you come in here. And you'll find more information, and you're looking for something hinted throughout the entire adventure called the Scroll of Three Ways. And I wanted to show this is a 2-part spread in the middle of the adventure of the ant attacking everybody. And it's just, it's really fun. So I wanted to share that. Now there's something you're looking for here called the Scroll of Three Ways, and that's going to get you through these rings right here. So this is a prison of sorts. It doesn't super explain, but this is where your players are going to find the brandy if they find any at all. And this is also where there's an idol here and a priest that's like actually making all of the noise. So the actual demon Lar-Shan is trapped in the tree up there and will break out if you don't do anything to help prevent that. But the priests have been conning the village into worshiping Lar-Shan just to make the brandy because it extends their life. They're essentially addicted to it at this point, and they're making a lot of money. So it's a fun adventure. And so you use the Scroll of Three Ways to get through these. If you don't do that, every ring will make wisdom saving throws and bad things can happen. And that's what happened to this guy right here, who is the leader of the rebellion who came up to the temple to try and overthrow all of the people here. So he's just a bad dude, and he's like passed out here, and you can revive him and get help if you need. Yeah, it's pretty fun. I'm really glad that I got to run it with just even the 2 players that I had, but I would 100% recommend this. There are bits of the adventure that I think the players won't ever really find out, and maybe if I was able to, prep a little bit more, if I wanted that information to be revealed, like the original magician that tied the demon to the tree, that could all be revealed in in certain areas if I wanted to. Maybe they'll find books that kind of document this process in the library, because there are 2 large libraries in this module. But it was my first level 1 Dying Earth adventure, and I had a good time. The other interesting thing about running this adventure for me is that I really wanted to use some of the custom classes for the DCC Dying Earth. But I will admit, if you don't have players who are on board to learn the nuances of their class, it might not be the best. So the thief, the warrior, the halfling, the dwarf, those are all very straightforward. The wizard's a little complicated, but not really. But boy, the magician and the vat thing, I had a player decide to play a witch. we got really confused and went back and forth a lot to try and figure out like what exactly what do we want to do here? How does this work? This is kind of frustrating that we're consulting the book a lot to figure out how to play our character. And so for level 2, the next one that I'm thinking of doing, I might, what is that called anyway? I found it. So the level 2 adventure is called the Sorcerer's Tower of Sanguine Slant. So this is probably the next one that I'm going to try and run and review with my game store, because I'm trying to do more Dungeon Crawl Classics there. But specifically with this one, I think I'm only going to use the base classes in DCC minus the minus the elves and the dwarves. Maybe I'll include the elves. I'm not really sure. Maybe I'll flavor elves as magicians or something. But I just need I need either a crash course in the classes and how they play before I start making pre-gens for people who have never played before. But who knows? Maybe we'll see. My Purple Planet game is kind of wrapping up, and with that, maybe we'll jump into some Dying Earth and play some brand new classes. Could be a lot of fun. So that was it. I recommend it. The Laughing Idol of Lar-Shan. It was a fun, like 3-ish hour adventure, and I think it picked up the flavor of the Dying Earth really, really well. If you are interested in Dungeon Crawl Classics, please subscribe to the channel. If you're interested in all kinds of indie RPGs, the OSR, and actual plays, then I look forward to having you here. We have a Patreon as well. If you go to patreon.com/Jordan with a PH in the middle, and you can find some of my writing there and some other stuff that I like to post. So thank you again for liking and sharing this video with your gaming group, and I will see you all in the next video.